Hi, I'm Adrian Branch, former pro athlete turned motivational speaker and certified life coach, and welcome to The Climb, a show where we celebrate the stories of resilient people sharing how they turned adversity into success. From the business sector to athletes and beyond, be inspired and learn what it takes to climb. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Adrian Branch here, and welcome to another episode of The Climb, a story like you heard in the opening that celebrates the resilience of men and women and how they overcome. What was their thought process? What was their self-talk? What was their secret sauce and the secret to their success? We want you to come away from this show saying, if they can do it, I can do it too. If they can overcome, I can overcome as well. Well, today you're going to be so impressed with this guy. He's a champion's champion. He's a mentor to me. He's a big brother. He's a 5-time world champion. He's an 8-time all-defensive player. He's one of the glue guys and staples to the 1980s Showtime team. And it's a privilege. You're going to identify with so many verticals of his life as a player, as a coach, and a champion on and off the court. So, folks, I want you to welcome my beloved Michael Cooper to the show.
Coop.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Thanks for hanging with us. It's a privilege. You know, you've covered a lot of ground since the last time I saw you 2 years ago at the Big Three, Hall of Fame. And then when you're coaching your college team, Cal State LA, you guys went to the tournament for the first time in 20 years. So you've been a busy person on and off the court.
Well, you know what? I enjoy giving back to the game of basketball. Coaching at Cal State LA is I'm an assistant coach there, and just kind of like mentor the young people and kind of give them some of the little knowledge I have to help them further their professional aspirations, whether it be overseas, in the NBA, or in the G League.
Well, it's interesting. I want to go back and take you back to when you were 3 years old, because you have an amazing story that they thought you'd never walk again because of a knee injury. Tell us about that.
You know, AB, as a young person growing up, back in those days in the 60s, um, my grandmother used to take the Folgers coffee cans
Sure.
and they'd cut the top of them off, and the bacon grease, chicken grease, they would pour that in the coffee can and sit it outside the back door. Well, our German Shepherd, Lucy, had puppies, and we were all excited about that. And this Saturday morning, the puppies were born, so they had come up on the porch and had knocked the can over, and my grandmother didn't cut the lid all the way off. She left the lid on, and I slipped on that, man. I, being real skinny, I fell right in that corner where the lid was attached and cut my knee all the way to the bone. Again, all I remember about is just the pain that I was going through. But that night after the surgery and everything, they told me my grandmother she had to keep me up all night. And they told my grandmother, well, you know what? We've attached his leg back, but he may never walk again.
Wow.
And through the grace of God, my grandmother being very religious, and she prayed for me all night. I remember that, and holding me. And as the days went on and turned into years, I slowly started being able to use my leg again. I started to walk again. And through, like I said, the grace of God, I was able to play basketball again.
Now, it's interesting because where you are now as a celebrated Hall of Famer, congratulations on that. I'm smiling from ear to ear, my teammate again. But there was a time where many people thought you were the horse nobody bet on. And in fact, in your Hall of Fame speech, it was a good little chuckle. You said you've done something that the great Michael Jordan didn't do. You got cut 2 times from your high school team. So tell us how that came, and then how you went to the local community college.
Well, you know what? Coming up through high school and trying to play basketball, I was always a skinny kid, and I wasn't. I was just very athletic, but I wasn't that basketball player yet. So trying out for the team in the 9th grade, got cut. Then trying out in the 10th grade, I got cut again, and finally I went out for the 11th grade team, and I finally made the team. So I don't know if that's a badge of honor or anything, because nobody likes to be cut. You kind of want to just go through the process of playing at each level from freshman, sophomore to JV and varsity. But I was tall, so I had that opportunity to play varsity early, and just glad that I made it. Once I was able to get in there, I kind of found my niche, And I was very blessed and fortunate to have a good high school coach and George Turgeon who taught the fundamentals of playing defense.
Yeah, now that's interesting because you said you went right there from Pasadena High School to Pasadena City College, but if it was good enough for two legends, it was good enough for you. Tell us who those legends were.
Well, one was Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson's from there. And the other one was the great Jesse Owens. And Jesse Owens was a track runner at Pasadena City College. So I was following in some giant, great footsteps. So, but my path there was kind of rocky too, because as everybody was getting scholarships to go to the University of UCLA, North Carolina, Maryland, wherever, I was messing around and didn't have the grades to go on and do that. So that was kind of like my choice by default. And I'm kind of glad I did because it was a wake up call for me to instead of being an athlete student, I became a student athlete.
Oh, I
And
like
that's where
that.
things kind of took off from me. So as a freshman, I messed up, became academically ineligible, got my act together that second half of that year. And then my sophomore year, I never forgot what it was about. I was there to go to school to be a good student. And then basketball was second. And that's where the University of New Mexico found me.
That's interesting. I love that one, Coop. I had the privilege of what I'm doing now is speaking to a lot of universities and speaking to the college kids. And I love that one where you weren't an athlete student, you were a student athlete. Then it's interesting. You had success at Albuquerque. Then you finished, University in New Mexico in Albuquerque. Then you were drafted third round, 60th pick by our general manager, Jerry West. Now, for the listeners out there, I'm gonna park it there for a second because Jerry West, Hall of Fame player, and every single NBA jersey has his silhouette of him on the jersey. And he was a Hall of Fame player and then became a Hall of Fame administrator. So he saw something in Coop. And Coop, tell us about what he said when that helped you and the legacy that you have been acknowledged for.
Well, you know what? I ended up with the Lakers, so I'm going to training camp over at Loyola Marymount. That's where we had the training camp at with the Lakers in 1979. And I walk in the gym and I see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jamal Wilkes, and Norm Nixon. Now you got to remember those were their three horses back then. So as I go in there, he walks up to me. He goes, "Hey, Michael, congratulations, glad you're here." He says, "I don't have enough basketballs for you, so you got to find another niche. You got to play some defense." So I didn't have enough shots. There wasn't enough shots for me to go around. So that kind of like gave me, grabbed me by the shoulders and gave me a good shaking and let me know that it's about defense. And I'm glad I did because again, that's kind of like my stronghold. And that's what kept me in the league and on the Lakers.
I'm gonna come back to that story because there's a teachable moment big time, and it's really, really personal for me. But I'm gonna come back to that moment when he said it's not enough basketballs. I want you to play defense. So you go through and you're making it happen. You're winning championships, and you won 5 championships in the 80s. And went to the finals, what, 12 out of 9 out of 12? What was that, Coop? You guys went to the finals in your ear with Magic and Kareem as you guys as the staples. It was 12 finals, I believe, and you won 5 of them. But this was the interesting thing. I love this one. The year you and I were together, 1987, I was a rookie, you were my veteran, and I'm learning from you guys. But it was a special time for you because you also had Defensive Player of the Year and you won something off the court as well. Tell us about that 87 year and how special it was for you.
Well, that was a very special year because that was the one year that I really kind of like focused in on my offense a little bit. AB, when I got there, people used to back off of me when I got the ball and trying to enter it into the low post to Kareem or Magic or to Worthy, and they just dropped back. And they used to put their best offensive player on me because I was supposed to be the weakest offensive player for the Lakers. So that summer, I worked real hard on shooting the ball, got my confidence level up and not only in the NBA, it's kind of like uh, a unwritten rule. Usually, people that are doing things good on offense are the ones that are getting the individual accolades or winning the awards. So that that really opened my eyes because now I had to shoot the ball. So not only did I become a pretty good 3-point shooter, and this is back then when that 3-point line was way out there, not like it is now. It wasn't a jump shot back in our day. It was a legitimate 2 foot heave up
Plant and,
there.
and heave.
So being a good offensive scorer 3-point shooter, I was able to win an award that I co-hosted with Roy Sparrow from the New York Knicks. It was the Walter J. Kennedy Citizenship Award, and that was about the person that was doing a lot in their community. So I started an attendance program with the Lakers. I went around to 250 schools that year, early in the morning, to kind of get kids to go to school because the ideology is if you're not in school, you can't be taught. And kids were coming in late and stuff like that. So the teachers were kind of bypassing them. So we gave out tickets to like all our games at the forum. So kids, the attendance went up almost 200%. And again, you got to give a lot of credit to the parents because they had a chance to go see the Lakers. And, compared to now as opposed to back then, ticket price was not that. I mean, it was heavy for some people, but
But
it
it was
wasn't as
affordable.
heavy as it is now.
Yes.
And anyway, the parents got the kids got an opportunity to see some games by just being in school on time.
What
And that was a big, big, significant uh, contribution to our academic system here in Los Angeles. So that award is something I'm really, really happy about because, again, it's not about always taking from your community. It's about getting from your community, but giving back more than you take.
I'm loving that. And you did it so discreetly. Like we would hang out, and I never knew you were doing such a community active, positive thing. So I want to say, man, that was impressive when I heard that one. I'm gonna give you some quotes, and I believe every one of us. I've seen it in person. Byron Scott, our teammate, Showtime teammate, said Coop was the most competitive out of all the Lakers. What was that born out of? Always played with a chip on your shoulder, and it was really you and that Magic or that Kareem or that James Worthy, the other Hall of Famers. You were the lightning rod that spurred everyone on. What was that born out of?
Well, you know what that comes from growing up. And, as we're growing up in the 60s and 70s, you're telling people, hey, I want to go to the NBA. And the NBA was like foreign land back then. I mean, you had to be very special player. So people would always tell me, Coop, you'll never make it. You're too skinny. You don't have a jump shot. You don't have this. You don't have that. And I just was trying to show them, prove them. I didn't listen to them. I always said that I can. And so once I got there, I was going to just keep instilling in myself and my teammates, hey, we can get this done. We can do this. And that was kind of like my role for the team is I was going to be that guy that ruffled things up and wasn't going to let anything stay standard quo because, if you're successful and you stay at that thing, at that level, somebody's going to either come and knock you off or going to push you down. Well, I wasn't about being pushed down. And so I was always looking to sustain and to achieve greater heights. And I've always had, I knew I was never going to win a scoring championship. So the best thing I could do was win every individual defensive award or get on that first team or second team all defense, defensive player of the year. And that's what it was about, just instilling that confidence in young people. And I live by this thing, AB, that I call Coop's 5D.
Oh yeah.
Their determination, dedication, desire, discipline, and decision making. Those
Ah.
5 Ds helped me become the player I eventually became, but it also helped me become the man that I am today. And I, put all those 5 Ds in work into being a father, into being a husband, into being a mentor, into being a coach, into being a spiritual and religious person. Those things helped me, and that's what kept that edge for me to keep pushing my teammates.
Let's park it there for a second. So if I give me a bullet point, I'm gonna say determination for your 5 Ds, and I love that defense and 5 Ds. Determination, you would say what? A bullet point on determination.
Be determined. No, be determined not to settle for less. It's to always accomplish more, to keep on fighting out there. If you achieve it or conceive it in your mind, and you go out there and give it with all the love and the aspirations that you have in your heart, then you can achieve it with your actions. And determination is a big tool for that. Is just be determined. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something that you feel that you can. And the only way you'll know if you can do it is if you try it. And if you fall short, then that means that there's a little more room for improvement. So I'm always determined to be my best.
I love that one. Talk about dedication and desire. When dedicated, committed, and then the desire.
Well, the desire aspect of it is as little kids we dream, and even as big kids now, I dream to want to always have that desire to be the best that I can and always present myself. My desire in the Lord Jesus Christ is growing every day now that I don't play basketball. And now that even when I play basketball, but just more desire to find out who the Lord is, who the Holy Spirit is, and find out those aspects of life and your walk with your walk with your higher power. And mine is the Lord Jesus Christ. But that desire in me to be the best, wanting to be the best every year, that still burns. And right now, I desire to be the best coach I can be. So I'm always doing something. I desire to be the best husband. You know, I fall short on that many times. And my wife and I are still building our relationship and going through that. So those 5 Ds can help you in any aspect of your life, any walk of your life. The discipline, there are discipline rules that you have too. There are guys that cheat on their wife, that go out and drink, that do drugs and do all these negative things. Well, that's a discipline factor in you. You weren't raised that way from the get go. At least I wasn't. So I have to fall back on my discipline factor that my grandmother says, walk in the faith and walk with the Lord. And when things go wrong, you don't turn to drugs or alcohol, you turn to Jesus Christ. So
Wow.
that those discipline factor goes into being just a quality athlete, but a quality person.
Wow, that is so impressive. Now, talking about you had tremendous success, obviously, again, as a player, but then as a coach, you were the first person in the history of the NBA to win a championship in the NBA, the WNBA, and now the G League. At the time, it was called the D League, but it's the minor leagues of the NBA. What was the secret sauce? And then again, success at Cal State, LA, where you are now. What was the secret sauce, and how were you able to adapt uh, on being success and cracking the code in every dimension?
Well, everything that you learn as a player, the things that I learned from my upbringing has helped me to achieve the NBA status and to get there and to have the longevity that I had. I was very fortunate and blessed to play 12 years. And then I just started expounding on that. After I retired, you still keep that building block process going. And I just kind of did that as far as a coach. Everything, the coaches that I've learned from, my high school coach, my college coach, and Coach Pat Riley was very, very influential in my development as a young coach. And then I use a lot of the things, even the way we practice when I went into the WNBA, and the women appreciated that. They wanted that, and that caused us to win. My next step was in the D League, and they had a new opening team, the Albuquerque Thunderbird. When I went down there, again, I applied all that I had known, and now that I was solidified as a coach, I really took that to heart and started uh, living by example through the coaching technique and doing all the things I had to do, getting up early in the morning, staying late at night, your scouting work, you have to do all that, and that made me successful there. And AB, you missed one. I've had championships at anything that has to do with professional basketball players. This year, I coached in the Big Three, Ice Cube's 3-on-3 league. We won the championship there, baby. So we
Whoa.
won. So I got 9 championships.
Whoa. I missed that one.
I'm gonna keep it on going.
I want to ask that. Give us a bullet point because everyone wants to go to the NBA. So give us a broad brush stroke. What's the mindset, generally speaking, as general as you can give it, for an NBA player? When you're coaching an NBA player, when you're coaching a WNBA player, when you're coaching a G League player because they want to get to the NBA, and then when you're coaching guys that had already been pros, kicked around. Some of them had success, some of them didn't. What does Michael Cooper, the leader, do for each one as an NBA player, WNBA, a minor league, and of course, the big three?
Well, what I try to do, you got to figure if you're in the G League and if you're in the Big Three, and usually the difference between those two is that the G League, you still have an opportunity, and there's something missing in your game, whether you come late or whether you do the wrong things or you're not practicing the right way. Well, what I try to do there is enhance that in the young people and kind of tell them and show them. And I think that leadway is a little bit better because, again, they still have that aspiration. And that, it's kind of like them hanging on a fence. And you know how you look in your neighbor's yard and they got a swimming pool. You don't have no swimming pool. You got that little round pool that nobody wants to be
From
in.
Walmart. Yeah, from Walmart.
Your neighbor got that. Yeah, your, your neighbor got that nice 10-foot pool and it's heated.
I've
And you
lived there.
look over the fence and you know what? You got to figure out, okay, there's some kind of way that I got to get there. Well, my job is to show them how to have that ladder or that step ladder. Or hey, you do this, you do that. You'll be able to jump over there and join the pool thing right there. So that is what I kind of help them, whether they're not a good passer, whether they're not a great shooter, whether they're not a great defender. In the G League, that's what I tried to do. And I was able to do that to several players. One of my players that I really loved that I had an opportunity to coach was Chuck Hayes.
Oh,
Chuck was
yeah.
out of Kentucky, had twisted his ankle. He was an undersized big,
Undersized power
and he
forward
had got
center.
drafted by Houston coming out of Kentucky. Yeah, well, we worked with him and Chuck was on my team that year. And man, we worked and he said, Coop, I'm gonna do everything you asked me to do. And I kind of showed him, worked with him, gave him the opportunity because you have to once you do all that work, you got to be able to play and put that into effect on the court. And Chuck got a call up, man, twice. The first time he went up, he didn't get it. Second time, Houston called him back, and Chuck, man, made a ton of money. This is in the 2000s, and you know what? Chuck to this day keeps trying to give me $1 million. Says, Chuck, you know what? It's not about you giving me something. It's about me giving you something to supply for your family. But in the Big Three, winning championships, I had Mario Chalmers, Michael Beasley, Reggie Evans, Lance Stevenson, and Sean Williams. And yes, their career is pretty much over, but that drive and that desire to be called a champ. Anytime you can play for a championship and you have the skills and the teammates to do it, you always want to win. And we put it together and won there this year. So it's just the little things that I'm able to give them, whether it's a word of confidence, whether it's showing them something on the court as a coach, telling them about my knowledge, my experience sometimes can help other people because they've been doing it wrong. Well, they probably haven't heard my way. And you know what? My way not be may be the right way all the time, but it may be a way that you never tried. And if you try it, you might get over the hurdle. So that's what I try to give to people.
Tell us about because you've had tremendous success, and I saw where you were rocking and rolling with Orlando Woolridge, rest in peace, the Big O. But then you were the head coach, and you guys won back-to-back championships with the WNBA, and you were coach of the year. So what's the mindset? What is the button to push to encourage the WNBA player and then the NBA player? Break those two mindsets down from those two leagues.
Well, you know, one of the stigma that falls on a young coach coming up is that you don't have any head coaching experience. And like anybody else, how do you get head coaching experience? By being given an opportunity. And that's why I'll always be in debt to Orlando Woolridge, like you said, rest in peace. Is that he gave me an opportunity to come up there and start coaching in WNBA. And for the year and a half I spent under him, and then they wanted to make the coaching change, and I was able to step in there. Well, I was ready. And I think that is something that, you know, for young assistant coaches or that offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator or the guy, you just have to put the work in, man. You have to do the hard work, spend the late hours, do all the grunt work, and you have to learn from that. Don't just take that as a job opportunity to just do it and pass it in. No, when you do it and you send your scouting report in or you give your report to that head coach, put some time behind it, put some work behind it, and understand what you're doing. And always give the head coach or whenever you're giving that person, hey, you know what? This also works too. You got to put in a little bit of your mindset into that. And I was able to get that opportunity. So when I became the head coach of the Sparks, you know, all I did was do a lot of things that Coach Riley had implemented with us. The easy run. AB, you remember we used to run with our hands
And
up,
then
and
a
I used to ask
defensive
Coach Riley,
slide.
why we
Yeah, I remember that one. Yes.
you may not know what you're doing, but it's gonna help you. And that helps. That kind of stuff helps, man. So when I implemented that with the women, they said the same thing. I had the great Lisa Leslie. I mean, arguably the best WNBA player, even to this day. If she was playing in the league today, she would dominate. Lisa was like, and you know what? She stopped questioning me after the first time. Coop, you think this is gonna help us? Okay, I'm gonna do it. And you know what, man? We finally got over the hump of the Houston Comets. Now you remember the
Oh, yeah,
Comets
they were
had
3 or
Cynthia
4-time champions. Yeah.
Thompson,
Tina
Pearl
Thompson.
Poole.
Yes.
They had and they won the first 4 championships, and that was our goal was to break through, man. And through all that hard work and that knowledge and that crying and laughing together, we were able to break through. And once we got it and they got a taste of that championship, you know that AD how it is. When you
You
get a
wanna do it
taste of
again?
winning, you want that savor in your mouth again. That's what we did.
It's interesting. You mentioned mindset. Mindset. You and our beloved Jerry West were a part of the greatest heist this side of Napoleon selling Louisiana Purchase. Tell us about the mindset in Kobe Bryant, that legendary time where Kobe, 1996, Allen Iverson was the big deal and Marcus Camby. But there was a legendary workout, and you took three nuggets from it where you said he's going to be a star, but with his passion, awareness of the game, and professionalism. So tell us about the mindset that you saw in the Mamba mentality in the early, early days.
Well, let's kind of do it like this, AB. You remember, and you played with somebody that was going to be a straight terror in Lynn Bias, man. And you understood what it took for Lynn to get to the point to where he was to eventually getting drafted. Now, he didn't get the chance to fulfill his basketball career, cut short, but that's how it was with Kobe Bryant at an early age, Kobe had that at 17, 18 years old. And that was the one thing that all the people there, Jerry West, Dale Harris, Mitch Kupchak, myself, we were all impressed with that mindset that he had. And again, that goes into what he eventually called the Mamba mentality. And you know what? When your player has that, you know it immediately. Now, sometimes it can come late to a young player, and eventually they'll get it after a year or two in the league. And that was the wonder that Kobe had it before he even stepped into the NBA arena. And it was just a chance for him now to grow into the league, get his body stronger, get his knowledge of the game better. But that mindset, that mental toughness, that understanding of where things go out on the court. And there was three things I had to do in guarding Kobe. One was to keep him from the low post. One was from the keep him from the elbow, that wing area, and the third one was to keep him to have a difficulty coming off the pick and roll. Now, a lot of people say Kobe got the best of me, but you got to remember, I was 41 years old at the time, and I'm not making any excuses. And this kid was 17 and had a body like a player already. So won that war, but again, it was a true joy of helping him, understanding him, and giving him just a little bit of taste of some defense in the NBA. But again, after we finished that practice, that workout, we all went to the side, and
He's the one. You said he's the
he
one.
goes, Jerry goes, Coop, what you think? I said, no, Jerry, what you think? And he goes, Coop, he's the one, and everybody knew it. And that's what made them pull the trigger, and Kobe Bryant became the player he became with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now he had to go through his trials and tribulations because that Laker team wasn't really suited for him yet because you had Nick Van Exel, Anthony Peeler, Eddie Jones. You some young talented players there. So Kobe was trying to fit in with that. And eventually they had to make some moves to really give him his opening and let that team become his. But it was fun watching him, knowing that he was going to be the one and the chosen one, and then watching how everything materialized until he became the Mamba.
I want to go back because, like I mentioned, this is a full circle moment for me. For the listeners out there, the NBA 1987 was my rookie year. I was privileged to come from the University of Maryland and win a championship with Big Brother Coop. We were 8 years apart. Coop, I don't even think you know this story yet. So Jerry West comes to us right after the ticker tape parade down Main Street, LA. We make a Just Say No Drugs video for young people. Remember your part? Remember your part? My name is, go hit that one real quick.
Hang out is around the hoop.
My name is Michael, call me Coop. My hanging out is around the hoop. In fact, look at LA 1987, Just Say No to Drugs for the listeners out there. You get a chuckle. But you don't know this. So right after that ticker tape parade, Jerry West comes to me, just like he did to you 8 years earlier, and he said, Adrian, I want you to work on defense. We want to start taking pressure off of Coop because you had just won NBA Player of the Year. That was the fourth championship. And in my young, foolish mind, I was on drugs called LSD, lost, stupid, and dumb. I was just on that psychological, not listening, Coop. But here's the thing. I said, Coop don't play offense. I play offense. Coop plays defense, and he's real good at it. So I go out and I score 55 points in the LA Summer League. And of course, shooting three-pointers, we didn't shoot them like they did. I was making it in 3 quarters. Jerry West, I still remember this, Coop, gets up and walks out the gym and says, that's the worst performance I've ever seen anyone play because I wasn't coachable. And within 30 days, I was gone from our beloved Lakers. This is where I want you to talk to the listeners. We had the same body type, we were same athletic and young, and we wanted to establish ourselves. But here's the kicker. You go on and you become a legend and a Hall of Famer. I go on and I go up the rough side of the mountain. That's why this show is called The Climb, to celebrate everybody's has a different kind of climb. But talk to the listeners. How did you at 22, 23 listen and become coachable and work the process where I didn't listen and I was a knucklehead and I went up the rough side of the mountain?
You know what, AB? Yeah, I've never heard that story before. But you know what? When one of the greatest that's ever played this game, and Jerry was that as a player, as a GM, as a mentor to all of us, and as a husband and dad, I think the reason why it was so different for both of us, because at the time I came in, the NBA it was an offense, but it really wasn't because you had Lonnie Shelton, Wes Unseld. You had some good defense. Bill Russell had played in the league. You had some good defensive players. So I had that option. I mean, defense was a little bit glorified when I came in, as opposed to when you came in. When you came in, the NBA was on a bang, on a high,
The
on a rush.
Showtime Lakers, we were, yeah, run and gun.
Yeah. So you being a great offensive player at Maryland and understanding how to score and do all those things, I just think that sometimes we get caught in our mindset of, okay, yeah, I know he wants me to play defense, but I'm gonna show him that I can play offense. But
Yes.
again, that's one of those things where, somebody tell you something and you do. AB, you and I are so much alike. The only difference between us is color. I'm darker than you. So,
I ain't gonna touch that one,
and,
brother.
and I'm right-handed, and you're a terrible left-handed player. I don't like lefties, man. I couldn't dig. But
Whoa.
it's a fun thing that we can laugh about it because everybody's journey eventually takes them different routes, but we all end up the same way at the top,
Hmm.
man. And like you said, your climb was different than mine, but here we are doing your podcast, enjoying life. You'll be a successful person in your end of it. I'm being a successful person, but you know what? That's a small little blip on the scale because I tell kids this. You know what? Athletics are just a small portion of who you are. The bottom line is, what do you do with it to make you become that successful man at the end? And a lot of people don't. And, I hate to bring this young man's name up, but this kid named Delonte West, I'm on TikTok and I hear a lot of the bad things and I see him now. And that's how easy it is for things to go wrong for you. And, I pray for him every day that he's going to get on the right track. But again, both of us are successful in our own right. We took the route differently, but the key is we won a championship in '87, baby. Nobody can ever take that away from us.
I'm loving that. I want to give you two quotes. I'm going to celebrate, and then I'm going to ask you to encourage our listeners. One, Magic said, it shows you that if you concentrate on defense and unselfish and master your role, people will notice. So if you're being unselfish, having winning intangibles and mastering your roles, people will notice. And I love this quote you had. I know what I do. You said from your Hall of Fame. I know what I need to do next. I'm determined to use my platform to give back to the game and to others. Having said that, Coop, before we let you go, can you tell our listeners out there what they can do to be encouraged and keep climbing?
I think just follow your rules. Everybody has different rules as a young person growing up. The people that mentor you, your mom and dad, your uncles, anybody that's involved in your life. Sometimes it could be your high school coach. Sometimes it could be your pastor. I think you just have to listen to them and understand and uh, have a young vision. As a young vision, you're always looking to be great as opposed to an old vision. And that's what I am now. I have old visions. My life is to end up in heaven with the Lord Jesus Christ. But I still have things to do here on earth. So I'm always giving out advice. But as a young person, don't always think you know it all because there's somebody that knows a little bit more than you. And when you listen to them, adhere to it, understand it, try to envelop it, try to let that soak in and knowledge is a powerful thing to have, man. When you know something and you don't think you know it all, because I'm always constantly still learning to this day. And the one thing that I always say, and I use this slogan, I think, therefore I can. And when you ask a young person about that, I think whatever you think you can conceive in your mind and you believe in your heart with your higher power, and you go out there, you can achieve it with your actions. So I'm always thinking I could be a better person tomorrow than I was today. And I just have to put that into effect in my mind, let that soak through me, keep praying on it, and just go out there and then get it done with my actions, man.
Wow. Big brother, so proud of you, man. I think, therefore I am. There were so many nuggets out there for our listeners. Coop, tell the listeners where they can find you. Where can they find Coach Cooper and Michael Cooper, Hall of Fame player?
Well, you can reach me. I'm at Cal State LA. I'm not big on this technology stuff, but I do want to say this, AB.
Uh-huh.
I just wrote a book, and I got a
Ah,
book out,
nice. There we go. There we go.
and it's called Coop: The Making of a Showtime Laker Legend.
Nice.
AB or Scratcher, you know your real name, Scratcher. You're in there too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get you a copy of this, but they can get this at Amazon. It's not hasn't come out yet. It comes out October the 18th or
Wow.
28th, I
Coming
think.
out in a few weeks.
Yeah, it'll go out. But I'm on. You can reach me on the Showtime, uh, Showtime Coop podcast.
Yes.
On all however you get your podcast platforms, wherever they
Yes.
are. Again, I'm all. This is not things I do. Other people do this for me, but I enjoy talking about it. But Scratcher, you're in this book, man.
Let's go. Let's
Go send you
go.
a copy. Go buy a copy. I'm gonna send you a copy.
Okay.
It was a true joy. It's 2 years in the. I wrote that 2 years ago, and we just been laying the groundwork, doing the fact checking, make sure everything is right, and I'm glad that it'll be coming out soon. So I'm
Wow.
gonna get you one.
We
You
we
know I'm gonna put in there SCRAT.
Scratch. I came from the East Coast, folks calling everybody Scratcher, which was another name for scrub. So it's stuck. It's like, hey, Scratcher, come here.
That became your nickname.
Yeah, it became my nickname, the Scratcher. Coop, we love you. Thank you for so much wisdom. We have to do it again. I sure appreciate you. Thank you for hanging today. Michael Cooper,
No,
everybody.
thank you, and tell everybody to keep climbing
Let's
because it's a
go.
long climb to the top, baby. But if you can't stop now, you got to keep going. Love
Thank
you,
you.
AB.
Love you, Coop.
All
Wow,
right.
Michael Cooper, everybody. There's so many nuggets. You've got to. Wow, man, it's like a big hearty Thanksgiving meal. You got to loosen up the belt buckle. What did Coop just tell us about being patient, about a praying grandmother, about not quitting on yourself, and then as a leader, listening? Because if you listen, you will glisten. And then he's in the Hall of Fame from a person where at one time they thought he'd never walk again. Man, his story has to continue to be celebrated. Well, listen, if you want to know more about us, head on over to adrianbranchspeaks.com. Follow us on social media at Adrian Branch Speaks and download The Climb wherever podcasts are available. For my climbers out there, we had a ball. And remember, be encouraged and keep climbing. We'll see you next time, everybody.